Like I was so blessed to come at that time, because now to come to Saudi to play in the Saudi Pro League is not easy, man. I got all my friends like hitting me up saying, "Yo, what's the Saudi League like, man? I want to come. I want to this."
Hello and welcome to the Mayman Show. We are coming to you from our studios in Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and our guest today is a veteran football player. I'm not going to say soccer. I'm going to say football, just so you know we have a universal audience that takes it in. Who's played in the UK, in the US, and is currently playing for Shabab. We have Mohammed Adam. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I know we've kind of spoke about this before, so
yeah.
It's a pleasure to finally be here, man.
I mean, I'm glad we finally made it work, right?
Yep.
Okay. And so let me, strike away and ask you some questions or some, kick the conversation off with your experience playing abroad. So you've played, in the US, you played in the UK, and now you're playing here in the Kingdom. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your journey. Tell us a little bit about, the clubs you played in, how you landed, these roles.
No, for sure. So love for football was always there. I mean, I'm born in Saudi, started off playing here, but more so just, Hawari, playing in the streets just for the love of the game. And then when I moved to the UK at the age of 8, that's when I kind of saw soccer as more of a career almost. Yeah. Just being kind of aware of like the clubs and the leagues and just even walking around and seeing like the stadiums and all that kind of stuff. So from that point, I just kind of, joined the school team and joined the Sunday League club, and it just became, a passion of mine. Mm-hmm. And then I got picked up by Nottingham Forest, who's a club that actually plays in the Premier League now. Joined their under-10s academy, and then played there for 8 years till under-18s. And then I was unfortunate enough not to get a professional contract. Suffered a few injuries at that point, which I'm sure we'll get into. But at that point, I kind of came to a crossroads. I wasn't sure what to really do next.
Okay.
And then a friend of mine was like, "Have you thought about the US?" And I'm like, "The US? What's that like? Do they play soccer? That kind of stuff?" Yeah. Football at the time.
Yeah, they don't play football. They play soccer.
They play soccer, right? Yeah. So, he just said, "Look, play a showcase game. They have this thing called, university student athlete. You can actually go there to be a student and then eventually turn pro if you're good enough." So I was like, all right, I think it'll buy me some time.
Yeah.
Took that route. Went to Syracuse University. And, man, from then it was just, I did a year and a half. I actually got drafted in my sophomore season. Mm-hmm. So there's this program called Generation Adidas, which kind of lets players who are undergrads still enter the professional game early. So I was fortunate enough to get one of the 6 contracts they gave out that year. I went in the MLS draft as the 10th pick, picked up by Chicago Fire, and then played for Chicago for a year and a half, Atlanta United for 2.5 years, into Miami for about a year, and then I got an opportunity to come to Saudi. So, just did a nice full lap to kind of get back to where it all started. And
then what's it like playing for Major League Soccer in the U.S.?
Major League Soccer, man, honestly, it's when I went out there was a lot of superstars. There was, Steven Gerrard and David Villa, Didier Drogba, Carlos Vela, Schweinsteiger, all these legends, Wayne Rooney. So for me, it was like I was almost like starstruck to see those players playing in those leagues. Okay. But at the same time, I kind of underestimated it going in because there's this perception, the US is like a retirement league and all that kind of stuff, similar to what the Saudi league, had before, this whole evolvement that we're seeing right now.
For this big boom.
But no, playing there was cool, man. But it's definitely different to playing in Europe and playing in Saudi. It's much more of a whole like event, just like how the NFL is, the MLB, the NBA. People just like to have a good time, man.
All right, well, that's good. And then what's different do you find playing in all these countries?
I would find, one thing that was kind of that took me a little bit of time to adjust was like the training time. I was so used to like growing up, we obviously trained in the morning, so I'd wake up at 6:30, 7 a.m. Training would start at 9, bang out for a couple hours. But here, like training 7 p.m. So it's just kind of that time difference, and it took a bit to get used to at the start, but eventually it was all good. I managed to get used to it. But I'd say the difference is more so the intensity between the leagues in terms of how the fans and how people really view the game. Yeah. In the UK, obviously, it's very, very passionate. Probably one of the biggest leagues in the world, which is, the Premier League. Yeah. And they live and breathe the game. The US is somewhat different because soccer over there wasn't the first, obviously, the main sport, the primary sport. You can look at NFL, baseball, and NBA as probably the top 3. So there wasn't so much pressure. There's no relegation system. So MLS, if you finish bottom of the league, it's fine. You got next season. So there's no.
We'll get him next time.
We'll get him next time. Exactly. No worries. So there wasn't too much of like a hit. For us guys. The fans were okay.
So no chair throwing inside the
locker
room.
No chair throwing.
No cursing.
Season finish. Guys will catch you next time.
Okay.
But there's obviously the travel was tough. You got the league is split into two conferences. The East and the West. I played in the East in all clubs that I played for in the US.
Right.
So the travel wasn't too bad, to be honest. It's nice to go to LA. It's nice to go to Miami and all
but it's like traveling from Saudi to London daily, right?
Yeah,
like 5-6 hour flights.
And then you got like a 3-hour time zone if you're gonna play in like Seattle or play in Texas or LA or anything like that. So I think that was probably the biggest difference. I say that the timing of training and then obviously the travel.
All right, that's cool. And so. What exactly do you feel is like a memory you take away from this journey so far? What are your favorite moments? Like if someone had to say, make a highlight reel of your football journey so far, what would it be?
It's a really good question, honestly. I think for me, I've faced quite a few setbacks in my career.
Yeah.
Whether it be injuries, whether it be other stuff. I think how I've been able to consistently bounce back from those, and this has allowed for people to feel inspired. I remember so a little story I'll tell you right now. When I didn't get a pro contract at Nottingham Forest, I went to Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn Rovers, they were in the Championship at the time. Did a 2 weeks training camp, got offered a professional contract on a Thursday. On a Friday, I'm supposed to sign the contract, right? In training, I'm dribbling down the line, cut the ball back, some guy just smashes my ankle.
Okay.
At that point, I'm like, damn, this is painful. I can't walk. I get up. It's like I can't move. So then I'm like, man, I didn't put pen to paper. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, it was like, go home, get scanned. And then the club ring me. They was like, Mo, you've snapped 4 ligaments in your left ankle, this, that.
Yeah.
Can't sign the contract. So at that point, I was that close from turning pro. And it just gets snatched at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So from there, it was just like, what do I do? Just honestly, at that point, I kind of wanted to stop playing football because I feel like everything I've ever worked for just snatched from me like in an instant.
Okay.
Things out of your control. So that's when I really just had to kind of, find my feet, do my rehab. I was out for 8 months. And then that's when I got to a point where my friend said to me, would you like to go to the US? But even prior to that, like, you know how competitive it is in the UK.
Yeah.
If you get released at a certain age, you can't expect to jump back at that same age or that same level. Mm-hmm. There's like a pyramid. You got to start at the bottom of the food chain and work your way back up. Exactly. Right? So I did that. I had a dream to be a footballer. I was playing for clubs that were not full time. People were working 2 jobs at the same time. So it was like I had this little dream, but this wasn't the right environment for me. So that's when I obviously took the step to the US, and it inspired a lot of people because I was one of the first people at the UK to really take that step and eventually turn pro. So I'd say that was probably like seeing my actual dream come true, and the perseverance that I went through eventually pay off.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. And what do you think about the current football boom happening here in the kingdom?
It's incredible, man.
Yeah.
It's honestly amazing, and I'm honestly blessed to actually be in the Saudi Pro League. And even like thinking about it, I came, I think in July, August, and Ronaldo came in December. Like I was so blessed to come at that time, because now to come to Saudi to play in the Saudi Pro League is not easy, man. I got all my friends like hitting me up saying, yo, what's the Saudi League like, man? I want to come, I want to this. And it's like now they just go, you have to be like a profile. You have to be a big name. And this is not necessarily just to help with marketing and this and that. Yeah. They're actually able to pull all these world-class players. And to see that, and to remember, like, my debut, played against Had and playing against Benzema, and then played against all these top players. And these are players I was playing with on FIFA, to actually come up against them in real life is incredible. But it has so much potential, and I think people are really starting to tap in and really pay attention to what Saudi is doing, not just in the sports sector, but in everything, as a whole. But within the league, it's incredible. Not all us players are like really excited. Like, you don't know who you're going to play against next season. Is it Mo Salah? Is it Kevin De Bruyne? We'll just keep waiting, I guess.
All right. And if you had to say, basically, what makes playing in the Saudi League challenging for you at this point of your stage, what is it, aside from being, starstruck, and of course the level of competition?
Of course, the level of competition is huge, and I think, all us as athletes, we thrive under pressure. We love the pressure. We love competition. That's eventually why we play the game. That's why we love the game. That's why you do what you do. Everybody. So I think, seeing the improvements, being able to compete at the highest level is one thing. But also at the same time, it's really just trying to better ourselves. We're at a league now, which is people are watching it. And people ask me all the time. I was playing at Inter Miami before I actually came to Saudi, and Lionel Messi plays there. And everyone's like, man, like, you could have been Messi's teammate. Like, I don't care, man. Like, I'm in Saudi playing against all these world-class players. So for me, like, this is honestly a dream.
Okay. Yeah. And then when you're not playing football, I notice you're into fashion, and you're also the founder of Style Speaks, right? Correct. So, and you talk about the latest fashion trends happening here in the kingdom and across the region. What made you want to start this platform?
So honestly, I've always, obviously growing up in like the West, athletes were always praised to do more than just actually play the game. Yeah. You look at all the athletes, NBA, whoever it may be. We use LeBron James as an example, even though it's a different world game. He's he's still like the founder of Uninterrupted, and it's got all these gigs going on. And for me, I just love like the creative side of things. I came at a point where I saw the transition happen in Saudi, and there was a lot of creatives here who didn't necessarily have a voice. So I wanted to be that voice. Right. I wanted my platform to be that voice for them. To give a voice to the culture, to give a voice to the people who are really actually making some real cool things happen. And for me, Style Speaks was just an idea. I love talking to people. I love fashion, and it was a way to kind of incorporate the two together in a way that is very laid back, very chilled, cool, trendy, and kind of we'd like to document people the way they'd like to be documented. It's a very laid back platform for us. And we're just tapping into more than just fashion. The music scene here is evolving. There's athletes. We're just trying to kind of bring that whole creative scene together into one and just showcase, how Saudi is and how cool he actually is.
All right, so it's like fashion is just the tip of the iceberg.
Fashion is the tip of the iceberg, yeah. We started off as fashion because it was a niche that was, Fashion Week was coming into fruition at the time and stuff like that. But now we're seeing how much people love the channel. We decided, look, we can incorporate that into different sectors for sure.
Right, and then what made you want to start out with fashion? You obviously there's a personal love that you have for the fashion industry.
Well, I hope I look good today, man. I'm interested in wearing some nice things.
Yeah,
but,
With me, it's always a tough choice. It's always the white thobe, or the white thobe.
So, exactly. Yeah, which now?
I just don't know what to do, right?
It makes your options much easier.
Yeah,
but no, fashion was. I have an interest in fashion. I've always liked fashion. I think it's also comes from being an athlete. We're always kind of, we take a lot of pictures, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of fit. But the term style is like not necessarily just tied to fashion. Style is a way of doing, a way of being. Like your style of hosting is maybe different to my style of hosting. Yeah. So it kind of fits within everything.
My style is the bohemian style.
You have the best style of hosting.
No, I don't know how to take compliments. So that's the part where I'm going to say cut. No, I'm just joking. But so playing football, training, doing your platform, I'm going to ask you the cliche question my team's always asked me: how do you find the time to do all this stuff?
Yeah, this is crazy. Someone actually, I was at an event a couple of days ago, and someone said to me, like, you must not live a 24-hour day.
Yeah.
You must not live a 24-hour day. You have more than 24 hours in a day because you fit so much into one day. But I just feel like as long as it's something you enjoy, it doesn't necessarily feel like it takes anything away from you. I like to be productive, honestly. Like, I was in Dubai a few days ago, and I didn't really work, and I came back, and I was like, kind of regret going almost.
Yeah.
So it's just for me, just trying to always be active, always trying to do stuff. But I also have a great team around me, man. I can't take credit for everything I do. Within football, I have great teammates. I go to the club, there's great people that I work with who are very welcoming, very easy, and it's a fun 2 hours that I spend there with Style Speaks. I have a wonderful team who are able to help me shoot, edit, all that kind of stuff. And for us, creating something together is what makes this such a passionate thing for us. Even though I'm the host of Style Speaks and the face of it, it's not just a one-man job. There's a lot of people behind it that actually make things happen. I want to say a lot of people. It's not necessarily quantity. It's just more so a lot a lot of ideas that go into it.
Yeah, it's always quality.
It's more there's like
quantity,
four people that run the show at Style Speaks.
Yeah? That's a little more than what we have here, but I'll just keep that to myself. It's not about. Obviously, there's a huge engine that works in the background that you're not seeing here today. Yeah. And so just tell me exactly, where did your love for football begin when you were a kid? What made you, aside from saying, yeah, okay, I can turn this into a career and get paid, obviously, playing football as a kid wasn't for money. And what made you fall in love with it?
No. it was never for money until you kind of just really get into the business side of things and turn pro.
Yeah.
But honestly, I just think I was just an energetic kid, man. If I wasn't playing football, I would have probably just been annoying my parents. So they just said, go outside, take a ball, and just do what you want with it. But just growing up in Saudi, a lot of my neighbors, you know how it is growing up here. Like football is very passionate. Like it's the culture here in Saudi. They live for football. And for me, it was just a way to compete. You know, I've always been competitive. Like even PlayStation's playing with my brother. Like I'll get annoyed if I lose. Now if I play a card game, even my younger brother, like I want to beat him. Like it's just competitive. Like just being competitive kind of runs deep in our family. So I think football was a way for me to just really get active and use, you know, that as a tool to really just try and make something eventually. But at the start of my career when I was younger, just to really enjoy and just be active in doing something.
Yeah, and who was your favorite football player growing up?
Favorite football player growing up? Man, I'd say Ronaldinho.
Yeah?
It was a crazy moment because my brother like shot him the other day, taking a picture for a night campaign that he did. And that was a surreal moment because I grew up, you know, watching Barcelona here. You know how Saudi was a while back, it was Barcelona or Real Madrid, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So for him, like, you know, taking pictures of him and just doing a whole night campaign with him was incredible, man. I still can't believe it. But him, and then when I moved to the UK was Ronaldo. And then that's where the kind of the starstruck moment comes into playing, you know, against Ronaldo here in Saudi.
All right. And then you keep mentioning PlayStation, so I'm sure you're an avid video game player.
Not as much as I used to be. I think COVID times I was banging it out, man. I was like, yeah, it was. I mean, like we weren't training. I was in Atlanta at that time.
Okay.
So we would just get on, you know, on pro clubs or whatever, and just literally spend hours, headset on, headphones on, world out. That's what it was, and we would just talk and say some good stuff, some bad stuff, and you know, curse each other out a little bit.
What was your favorite? Okay, so what were your favorite games playing?
FIFA. I only play FIFA. Yeah, I'm not
FIFA?
into all that shooting games and stuff like that. It's just FIFA for me.
So back in the day, you were playing Winning 11.
Yeah, Winning 11. Yeah, I have that on my PSP and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always been football.
Yeah,
always. Yeah.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Okay.
I wish, but no.
All right, and then let's get to your injury, the one that you know.
Yeah.
Gave you a lot of setbacks. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So
that injury.
Yeah, that one was, like I said, it wasn't the only one, but that one was probably the one that had the most impact on me. Obviously, left ankle, I had 2 tie ropes put in to hold like the ligaments in place.
Right.
You know, the rehab for that was quite tough. Going back to a club that originally released you to do your rehab it's not nice because you're in an environment where you're not necessarily wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Although they do care about you as a person and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very blessed for them to kind of take me back and make me get my rehab done and all that kind of stuff. And for the English FA for having programs such as St. George's Park to go in and get a few days of rehab in such world-class facilities was really cool. But then another one was, I think it was in 2021, I want to say, in Atlanta United. You know, when there was a league stoppage due to COVID, whenever we got back, there was the schedule was very condensed. It was you play Saturday, Wednesday. And I was, you know, playing a lot of these games, and I play midfield, which requires a lot of running, a lot of change of direction. So there was just one play that the ball was kind of just out of reach, and as I stretched, I just hit like a baguette pop here in my adductor. So yeah, and then I go into the medical room. They do a couple tests, and then they can just tell, you know, from, you know, the range of motion and all that kind of stuff that it's an injury that's probably going to take some time to recover from. So yeah, that set me back. And then when I came back, the coach just threw me into the lineup immediately. Yeah. 2 games in, I play another injury in my left quad. So that kind of set me back some time.
Do you feel that they, you know, sent you back a little too soon?
Too soon, very soon, yeah. And they say that the 2 injuries, obviously, there's a correlation between them, both being left side, both being muscle injuries, and stuff like that. Well, that's football, man. You know, I would have been mad at him.
In general.
Yeah, that's sports in general. I would have been mad at him for not putting me on the pitch. So then I can't be mad at him for doing so, and then I suffer something. That's just life, man.
So what did you learn from all this experience? Like, what would you say that experience has made you a wiser athlete?
Yeah, I would just, I mean, one of the things that one of the coaches said to me, like, all these setbacks you face on the pitch, don't think they're just things that you learn through your career in football. Mm-hmm. These are things that are going to help you for life outside of football. These setbacks that you face, all these, you know, issues that you have to deal with, these are going to be pushing you stronger, that one day you can maybe teach your kids and have all these experiences to kind of really learn from. So I think for me, it's just really how to persevere, and, you know, like, life happens, man. Like, these things really going to, you know, we're going to hit a wall one day, and we're going to face all these obstacles and challenges that come our way, but it's really how you come out on the other side, you know?
Yeah.
So one thing that I always do is just try to keep going, man, and try not to get too down about things, you know? There's problems, there's issues in the world that are way bigger than what's happening here, you know? So just keep it going.
All right. And who's been your biggest motivation through all this journey? Who inspired you in life? It doesn't have to be, you know, like an athlete or anyone.
I'd honestly say my mom. I mean, my mom and dad. But there's a couple. You know, when I think about my mom, there's a couple things that come to mind. And one is when we first moved over to the UK and we were kind of going to training, and we would get 2 buses. And she was, you know, I think I was 10, 11 at the time, and she would take me to the bus stop and we'd go to training, and then she would wait in the cold, and then we'd get 2 buses back, and then she would take me to school the next morning and take my younger sister or brother. So
it's a lot of sacrifice.
It's a lot of sacrifice, man, and everything I get, I owe to like my family. Like I try and just make them proud as much as I can, obviously, but it's just like whatever I achieve, it's not only for me, you know. It's for my parents for sure. So I think those are the things that really stick out. And everything I do is really just to make my parents proud.
All right, fair enough. And when
deep answer, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry,
I said a bit of a deep answer.
Well, no, that's what I want is a deep answer. I mean, the only way we can tap to the surface is to see what's deep within, 100%. Right? And you know, so when you're not following fashion, playing football, training, playing PlayStation, what do you do for fun? I mean, obviously you follow media.
Yeah. No, I do. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
See what you do. I just try to tap in with the scene and just really be as aware and as tapped in as possible, just so I can, you know, continuously learn. You know, I learn from you. I learn from all the other podcasts in the region. I learn from what's going on, and I try to study the market as best as I can.
So you're learning what not to do when you watch my show, right?
I'm learning what to do, man. Seriously, I'm learning what to do. So yeah, I'm just trying to stay tapped into the scene as much as I can. There's so much happening in Saudi. There's a lot of things that happen at such a quick rate that you have to stay aware and have your eyes wide open. Then aside from that, I like to go for a walk. I like to have a coffee. Just basic stuff, man. Yeah.
Well, what's your favorite kind of coffee?
Ooh, so it depends on the time. So if it's the morning, it's got to be black coffee.
All right.
Black Americano. Then if I'm feeling bougie in the evening, maybe like a Spanish latte.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. And then what do you think of this digital era that the Arab news is having right now, which is giving voices to platforms like such as mine?
100%, man. This is it's incredible, and that's, you know, one of the things I appreciate about all these major platforms, and appreciate what you do and what I'm trying to do is really just to create something that really gives a voice to people and really kind of makes change, because there are so many talented people here in Saudi and around the Middle East in general that really want to utilize their voice or their talent or their career and stuff like this. So having, you know, organizations like SRMG, Arab News, whatever the case may be, it's just incredible. Like, you know, I remember when I first came to Saudi and I saw this podcast, I didn't think I was going to be on it.
Okay.
You know? So a year and a half down the line, 2 years, so it's nice to see you, Sam, you know. So it's
nice to see you too.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
what did you like about this podcast?
First of all, English.
Yeah.
You know, I would say
some Saudi dude rambling in English for 30 minutes. That's what caught your attention,
that
right?
What caught it was someone wearing a thumb sounded American.
Yeah,
that's what it really was.
Okay.
No, but it was just like a real podcast. I'm like, for me, when I found out about my move to Saudi, you know, what's the first thing you do? You go on YouTube, just put in like life in Saudi or whatever it is, because the Saudi that I experienced going back however many years when I left at the age of 8 in 2005, it's different to what it is today.
Yeah.
So, you know, listening to your podcast and learning about what the people are like here and the industry and everything like that really opens your eyes and really kind of better prepares you, but also entertaining. Like one of the the 3 pillars of Style Speaks that I really try and bring is, one, to be entertaining, because there's no point in having a show or anything if it's not entertaining.
Right.
Second thing, to be educational. You know, we bring people in who have had careers, who have had to do some certain things to get to this point. So, you know, we've had, for example, Tariq, who was an Olympian on the show, and he's talking about, you know, his career and his journey and what life was like in the Olympic Village. Like, and he brought his Olympic medal to an episode. Like, these are things that you're not necessarily gonna find unless you really tune in and really give a voice to these people.
Yeah.
And the last thing is we want to be inspiring. You know, we want people to watch the episodes and watch the shows. And I'm not just talking about my channel in general, but even stuff like this, how I found with the Mayman show, is to feel inspired and to one day want to be on it. Like I saw this and I was like, man, one day I want to be on the show. And here I am. So it's
What if I tell you that one of my pillars is disruption?
well, yeah. That's something else, man. That's
right.
a different ballgame.
Okay, and then fair enough. Okay, before I wrap up my interview with you, I always ask my guests, what's their personal message to the audience?
Personal message to the audience, man. Ooh, that's a good question. I would say it's a message of appreciation. Just for all the creatives out there, for everyone who's trying to find their feet, trying to find their voice, just to keep doing so, man. Because, you know, like when I started, whatever I was doing, whether it was football or whether it was my challenging style speech, which is 7 months old, it all started off with an idea. So an idea can eventually become something so much bigger. Yeah. So just keep going, keep pushing. And honestly, thank you for being, thanks for the people who are brave enough to kind of showcase their ability, showcase their talent, showcase their voice, because I feel like that's needed. And it's very inspiring for all of us to see, especially in a moment where Saudi is thriving. We need more of this.
All right, fair enough. And like I said, we're not going to take much of your time. That's the interview. How was it? It was good?
It was incredible.
All right. And
it was my first one in Saudi, man, so it was the most memorable for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to close the interview with a sentiment of basically what you said, which is your future is only the hustle, loyalty, and respect that you put in today, right?
I love it.
All right. All right. See y'all later.
Do it.